Hi everyone and welcome to part 7 of my Kobolds and Catacombs card review. Today I've got 3 new cards to be showing you. Blizzard's going to be releasing new cards every single day up until the new expansion comes out, so if you'd like to keep up to date on those, be sure to hit the subscribe button because I'll be doing daily videos. With that being said, let's start with the first card. So the first card we're looking at today is an epic rogue card. It's 4 mana, it's a 4/4 minion and it's called the Fal'dorei Strider. And this has an interesting battle cry of shuffle 3 ambushes into your deck, and when drawn you summon a 4/4 spider. So things to note on this are that they go randomly into your deck, so you don't know when you're going to draw them, but when you do draw them, a 4/4 Fal'dorei Strider pops up on your board, and then you draw another card as well. So it's like getting an extra 4/4, with the only downside really being you don't know when you're going to draw them. So it does make your deck bigger, but because it draws a card straight after, you're not losing any kind of card draw advantage there. Now we have seen a card of this type before called Beneath the Grounds, and it was almost exactly the same, although it was a spell, and in this case it would shuffle the spiders into your opponent's deck, so when they drew one, you summoned the spider. But this time it's in your deck, and there are some key differences between that and this, and why I think this card is better than that other card is because this is a minion that you're going to be playing, and it gives you a lot of more possibilities, and because the cards go into your deck rather than your opponent's deck, it also gives you more possibilities. And I think the main deck this is going to be going into is the Miracle Rogue. Now, this is an old deck that hasn't been used for quite some time, but it basically uses the Gadgets and Auctioneer to create some huge rogue turns. So Rogue's got a lot of low cost spells. It's also got its own coin that you can put into your deck. And when you play a spell, Gadgets and Auctioneer draws another one. So you can just basically draw a lot of cards in your deck in one turn and create these huge miracle plays where you can either create lots of damage with your low cost spells or even kill your opponent. Now, the advantage to having this card in your deck now is that when you do your miracle turn and you're drawing through these spells, if you come up against one of these, you're going to be drawing 4/4s as well for free, because the card will draw, spider goes onto the board, and then you draw another card because of the effect of the Gadgets and Auctioneer. So it just keeps rolling, and you could end up the turn having 3 spiders on the board, which is a huge tempo swing. Another key advantage of this card is that because it's a minion, you can benefit from its battle cry, especially in the rogue class with cards like Shadow Step. So you can return it to your hand, play it again, and then you've got 6 Fal'dorei Striders in your deck that you can draw into. And also with the new card, the new legendary card that was just reduced, Sonya's Shadow Dancer, because this is a minion, you could play Sonya's Shadow Dancer, have this die, and then you get a 1/1 copy back in your hand, which you can then play for the battle cry, and you can also Shadow Step that again and play it again. So you can, if you can create some really cool combos and get loads of these Fal'dorei Striders into your deck. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Rogue doesn't have too many great 4-drops, and I think this is a really good 4-drop to play on turn 4. 4 mana 4/4 stats on their own are pretty decent, but it shuffles these advantages into your deck without making your deck fat with cards that you don't want. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing this play. It's a shame that it's an epic, so it's going to be difficult to get in your opening packs, but I'm hoping for one. The next card we've got to look at today is called the Voidlord. This is an epic Warlock class card, and it costs 9 mana, has 3 attack with 9 health. It's got Taunt and a Death Rattle of summon 3 1/3 demons with Taunt. And the Voidlord is also a demon as well, which is really important to note. So this card, on the face of it, looks like an anti-aggro card because you're putting a huge taunt down, and the Death Rattle is 9 more health of taunt basically for your opponent to get through. So you think against an aggro deck they're going to really struggle, and that is true, although to be honest, if you're making it to turn 9 against an aggro deck, then you're more than likely going to win the game anyway, because they want to kill you much earlier in the game. However, against a mid-range deck it does the same thing, so if they've got plenty of minions on the board, this is something that can really help you. But I think where it shines, this card, is going to be in cards that play Blood Reaver Gul'dan. So because it's a demon, and because the 3 Death Rattles are demons as well, all of those demons will be coming back. Also you can play it with N'Zoth, because Just the Voidlord would come back with the Death Rattle. So this sort of card is really what you want in a N'Zoth, because when you you're playing N'Zoth, often you put lots of minions onto the board, but your opponent then has the turn to do what they want to it. But if you can play N'Zoth and get this back and create a taunt that your opponent has to get through first, it really is an effective strategy. And the same thing applies to when you're playing Gul'dan. But I think where this card's going to shine is in decks that play Rin the First Disciple. Now this is a legendary minion that is going to be introduced with the new expansion. It's just for Warlock, and what this does is it starts you off on the quest to play 5 separate seals, and then after you've played all those seals, you do summon Azari the Devourer, and the whole combo takes 7 cards, and it's going to cost 41 mana. So a card like Voidlord is one that's going to be able to help you stall out the game to get there, because when you do get there and you play the final card, then you destroy your opponent's deck. So it is a really powerful and fun deck to play. But you're going to need these huge taunt minions to slow your opponent down, because to be able to play that many cards and that much mana, it's really not something that you're going to be able to do quickly. So I quite like the Voidlord. It's one that I would strongly consider putting in just a normal Warlock deck, even if you're not playing Rin the Disciple, because I think bringing it back with Gul'dan or even N'Zoth is going to be really powerful. So one to watch. The stats of 3 attack isn't great, and 9 mana is quite expensive, but I think it could be worth it with the potential. Next up is a 4 mana neutral card. It's a dragon. It's called the Hoarding Dragon, and it costs 4 mana, has 5 attack and 6 health, so extremely strong stats. So if you can play this on turn 4, it's a really big tempo play. Your opponent's not likely to have been able to play anything that strong at that point. Also, I mean, if you're playing as a druid and you manage to ramp into this, then it's really, really strong. If you're going second and you've got the coin, you could play this on turn 3. So it is really strong, but it does have a death rattle, and it's important to note it's a death rattle, not a battle cry. But a death rattle to give your opponent 2 coins. So you get the advantage of having the huge stats on the board, and the opponent doesn't get their advantage until they kill it. Now we have seen a card similar to this before, and that is called the Hungry Dragon, and this had exactly the same stats, but with a battle cry of summon a random 1 cost minion for your opponent. So it did happen as soon as you played it with the battle cry, and that was quite good because you had some good tempo, and often you could just kill off their 1 mana minion quite easily. Obviously there were some situations where it worked out quite well for your opponent, but all in all it was just a good tempo card to play. However, with this card, it has to be done with a death rattle, so you get the advantages of the board control until it's dead, but there are a few decks which would actually like the extra 2 coins. So if you were playing against Raza Priest, for example, which has been really strong in the Knights of the Frozen Throne, you're giving them 2 coins. If they've already played Anduin and Raza, then you're just giving them more license to use that Anduin hero power of doing 2 damage, because they just do 2 damage coin, 2 damage coin, 2 damage again, before they've even started their turn. And then of course they get 2 extra mana that they can use for other combos in their deck to keep machine gunning you with that power. Also, if you're playing against the Quest Mage, then Quest Mage, you're giving them 2 more spells which they can do to complete their quest quite easily. Just play 2 coins and that's another 2 spells that they've got on to complete their quest. However, there is an argument that giving your opponent 2 coins can help with hopefully trying to burn some of their cards. If their hand gets too full, then they can burn a card. But because it's a death rattle, they can pretty much choose when they want to kill it. So they, I mean, as long as they're playing properly, they won't kill it when they're going to fill their hand. So I think it will get played, because there are some decks where having 2 coins isn't much of a benefit. Sometimes for the opponent, they don't even have the cards in their hand to be able to take advantage of having the extra 2 mana. And I just think the strong tempo at the start of the game could be quite important. We'll see, there's a lot of good dragons that have been introduced. And don't forget as well, as it is a death rattle, you could silence it yourself. If you were playing as a priest, potentially you could silence it. So it's a good card. I think it's one that we'll see some play. However, in some situations you are going to give an advantage to your opponent. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new cards that have been released today. Please do hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.